Evening, we'll get started tonight's session on discussing career services at the University of Richmond. I am honored to be with you along with two co-panelists, and we'll each introduce ourselves. My name is Leslie Stevenson. I'm the Director of Career Development, and I am joined by two recent graduates who've had fantastic experiences at UR, and I will let them introduce themselves. And so first we have Anna.
Hi, everybody. My name is Anna. I recently graduated from the University of Richmond in May of this year. So in my 4 years at the University of Richmond, I studied philosophy. I spent a lot of time in Northcourt. But one of the great things about being at the University of Richmond is that it gives you so many opportunities to be involved in all sorts of different things. So two of the things that I did outside of my major that I'm really proud of are my involvement with the Student Humanities group on campus and my involvement with the Philosophy Club. And in addition to that, I also participated in Ritmo Latino, which is the Latin dance group on campus.
Thank you, Anna. And John.
Hi, everybody. My name is John Cruz, and I'm from the great state of Dallas, Texas. And I say state because Dallas is literally, it could be its own state. So I'm also a graduate of the class of 2021. With Anna, we both actually shared a couple of classes our senior year, and we found solace in each other's company because we were both online for the entirety of our senior year. So we had some interesting experiences. I'm a business administration major. I had a concentration in economics and business analytics. And outside of my studies, I was a career services peer advisor. So I'm very familiar with all that career services has to offer and the greatness that it has in their office, and an RA for residence life, and the founder of the Robbins Diversity Coalition within the business school. So feel free to ask me any questions about my major, my postgraduate plans, my involvements, and those things. So nice meeting you all.
Thank you, John. And I thought we'd give you a brief overview of how we'll spend the next 40 minutes together. I've worked in career services. I'm approaching my 15-year anniversary, which is very hard to believe, but it's been a wonderful institution, and that's why I've stayed so long. I want to tell you a little bit about career services and how you can get involved as soon as your first year, why we really like to partner with students all 4 years and even beyond. So I'll give you a little bit of an overview of career services, share some resources, and then John and Anna will each talk to you a bit about their career development, some of the do's and don'ts, things they wish they'd done, things they're really proud that they did. And then we'll each spend about 3 to 5 minutes with those brief highlights. And then we'll open it up to your questions and comments. Please feel free to use the Q&A function on your screen. We're happy to answer your questions during the question and answer portion. So first, to give a little bit of an overview of career services at the University of Richmond, and I should have started by saying congratulations to all of you. I know that many of you, like Anna and John, are also members of the class of 2021 and who will be arriving on campus in the fall. And so just well wishes to all of you for what you surviving what you experienced in a post-pandemic world. I'm sure many of you could relate to Anna and John when they were talking about virtual education. And we're eager to see you and your loved ones when you come to campus in the fall. So one of the things that makes career services at UR a bit different, there are several things. One is that over 10 years ago, our university leadership had the foresight to combine career services with alumni relations. And there's still only about 10 to 20 campuses in the country that have that model. And so what it means for us to be connected to alumni relations is that you're connected to alumni from day one in your courses, throughout your career development. There are many ways that we can help you tap into the Rich Spider network that are invested in your success. So that's one of the ways that we are a unique office. We're actually comprised of 3 groups. There's the alumni relations group I just mentioned. There's an employer development group that is focused every day on talking about how great UR students and alumni are, and helping to recruit for internships and jobs. And then there's a group that John and I worked in, the career advising group. We will work one-on-one with you, whether you're someone who was like me, who had no idea about major or career field, or if you're like about half of our students who enter and are pretty decided on their career choice and feel they want to pursue. We have career advisors who want to meet with you pretty much as soon as you enroll to talk about your plans. You can come in and say, I'm completely undecided. I don't know where to start. And I'll put some resources in the chat that you can, when Anna and John are speaking, I'll share some resources in the chat that you might even want to take advantage of now. So some of the ways that we work with students are working on things like your job search, your resume, cover letter, how to create those, how to craft your internship search, or your job or graduate and professional school search. We also, our office helps to coordinate the UR Summer Fellowships Program, which is also known as the Richmond Guarantee, which is up to $4,000 to pursue research or an unfunded internship. And we really help students connect those interests. Each year we sponsor over 100 programs, again, to connect alumni and students and careers. And so some of those are definitely targeted to first-year students and career exploration to help you better understand major and course of study, to understand a really popular series that we offer. We use the name Deconstructing, and it shows what are some of the career options in that field. And so I might have heard of marketing and advertising, but what are truly the career paths in that field? And then in the short amount of time that I have, I'd share that one of my favorite programs that we offer are called the Spider Road Trips, where we take students to visit employers in their workplace to get a big overview of what it's like to work in that field. So I'll be quiet now and make sure that Anna and John have time to share information from their perspective. And we look forward to answering your questions at the end. And so I'm not sure who wants to go first, Anna or John?
John can go first. I introduced myself first.
That's great.
Oh, okay, I could go first. So I think that this is such a great webinar because it's encouraging all of you first-year students to go and just try things on campus. And I think that that was one of the most important things that I did as a freshman. I'm so glad that I went to career services during the very first month that I went to the University of Richmond, because that was the start of my relationship with all of our wonderful career counselors. And because I've been going since freshman year, I had developed a relationship with them, a rapport with them. They knew me. They knew, my struggles, figuring out a career path, figuring out a major. And I think at the end of 4 years, I made, not only did I get to experience the full, all of the resources that career services could offer, I also made some really great friends in career services. So, so I definitely think that going to career services from the get-go is one of the best things that you can do for yourself. And not just career services, but any of the wonderful offices, departments, and services that you can get access to as a freshman, you should go and check them out. Because I said this to John and Leslie before, but I think you just don't know what you don't know, especially as a freshman entering into college for the first time. So the more information you can get, the better. And I've never regretted just trying something for the first time here at UR. So that's my encouragement.
Thank you, Anna.
I guess I can go ahead and start with my spiel. So I guess I'll start with some do's and don'ts. So first do, kind of touching on what Anna said, just go. You know, your freshman year, one day, schedule a casual meeting, meet with whoever most aligns with you, like academic interest wise or career interest wise. Just have a meeting and just introduce yourself. I remember doing that my freshman year. And after that, I didn't go back anytime soon because, you know, I was a freshman and then my sophomore year came and I wasn't really looking for internship just then. But by the time senior year came, it was very beneficial because I was familiar with the office and where it was, what they offered, and just some of the career advisors that were there. So also touching what Anna said, I was able to also able to create some strong relationships with some of the career advisors. That kind of came out of me being a peer advisor and just working closely with them. But my senior year, the job search is very discouraging and much more difficult when you're in a pandemic and a recession. So having somebody there that's kind of a pillar of, you know, of careers, I guess a career advisor, I consider them very like, they're encouraging because like, oh, they say that I can get a job. They say that I have these qualities. Like, they're just encouraging during a discouraging time. So it was just really helpful to have something to keep pushing me during very kind of just stressful and sad times. And I think it's a very unique thing that you will find at Richmond. It being a smaller school, a liberal arts school, just very unique. Do not stress about, if you're a freshman stressing about what kind of job that you're gonna get, don't. Pump the brakes, pause, because it'll come. I didn't get my job offer until 3 days before graduation. And yes, it was stressful, but I knew that it was going to get to me eventually because Richmond gave me all these great, you know, characteristics, all these great attributes, and the Office of Career Services was like a huge part in landing my job offer. So two specific things that I think that were really helpful for me was the career services workshops. So they do a variety of like hour and a half workshops where they tell you about creating a resume, creating a cover letter, starting your internship job search. And the one that I'm going to speak about specifically is creating a LinkedIn. So as a business major, LinkedIn is your lifeline. I was able to connect with a lot of alumni, learn about companies outside of their company website. So when it came to, you know, making cold calls to alumni who work at a company I'm interested in, I had a really good, clean LinkedIn that was very that they would be willing to respond to. So one of the career services workshops was really helpful in that sense. Another thing that I want to mention is the resume. So I mentioned that there also is a resume workshop, but I was able to perfect my resume, make my language perfect, get those action verbs ready by visiting a peer advisor. And that was before I became a peer advisor, but it just was, I became confident in my resume, and I heard from other students that when they would apply to an internship or to a job, they'd hear back saying that, oh, your resume is really professional. It was a quality resume. And that was largely thanks to the career services department. So yeah, those are just a couple of things that I want to highlight about career services that really helped me in being a successful
Thank you for that. It looks like Anna has something to add.
Yes, I do. I totally echo everything that John said. And I just want to reiterate, you don't have to have anything figured out before going to career services. You can go in there not knowing, you know, what you want to major in, what you want to do, what a resume is, even. The career advisors are very kind. And at any stage you're at with the in your search for a career, you're just curiosity about careers, they're there to help you.
Great point. Thank you both for sharing that. And do you all want to tell what your next steps are post-graduation? What's next for you?
So I can go ahead and start. So I'm from Dallas, and I managed to get a job in Dallas, thankfully, at PwC. I'm going to be a technology consulting associate starting here in August. So August 9th is my first day, and I'm very excited / nervous. But having a University of Richmond education, I am very confident in my abilities to step up to the challenge.
For those of y'all who don't know what PwC is, it's a very prestigious company. We're all very proud of John.
Thank you, Anna.
I am from Arizona, and I think I get a couple of looks when I tell people that I'm going to be in Alaska in the fall. It'll be a pretty big change from my home state. I'm going to Alaska to work with Outer Coast, which is a small educational nonprofit in Sitka, Alaska, and I'm going to be working as their fundraiser.
Thank you both. I was very excited when you both shared next steps. That is wonderful. I always like hearing that. Something I put in the chat was a getting started resource. I think that's an excellent place for incoming students to get involved with career services. It has a lot of good, a place that you can capture a lot of good information, whether it's classes you've enjoyed, your interests, your skills, your values, and how that starts to work together to help point you in on a career path and how you manage your career. So that's a good, we've gotten good feedback from students who use that and they accompany it accompanies the conversations they're having with their career counselors. So it looks like we've already received a couple of questions and we'll start to address the questions unless either John or Anna want to add anything at this point. So the first question is, how much of a role does your major play into your career? Are you locked into a type of career depending on your major, or is there more flexibility? And I think I can give you the career services answer, and I'd love to hear how John and Anna experienced this as students. So one thing I'll say that, especially at a liberal arts university like the University of Richmond, we hear from employers that they're interested in our graduates of any discipline, that they are not locked in or restricted. So Anna just talked to you about humanities experience, and she's going to be a fundraiser. We hear from employers at prestigious firms like PwC that they want to hire business students, but also leadership and arts and sciences students. So in terms of how much does it lock you into a career, there are some professions that do look for a specific academic discipline. At the University of Richmond, the one that comes to mind most frequently is accounting, that they want people who are CPA eligible, and that they've had the equivalent of 150 credit hours of coursework to prepare them for that. But I will tell you that that some of the popular terminology is Big Four. So some of the largest accounting firms in the country, like PwC, have a variety of roles that are not for accountants. And though the accounting firms hire the largest numbers of students at UR, they hire across disciplines and they're not locked in by major. In my perspective. Some other types of employers who really look at discipline, I've experienced have been engineering firms. Almost everybody else that recruits at the University of Richmond hires across all majors and really thinks that the benefit and the value of a Richmond education would prepare you. They're interested in things that you've done outside of the classroom, skills that you've acquired, but not locked so much into major. But I'd love to hear, that's the career services perspective. I'd love to hear what students experienced in the recruiting process.
I can go first.
So when speaking about when I was being recruited by PwC, when I applied through their website, it's usually like a lot of the jobs usually say majors looking for or intended majors to apply. And it's either like business, accounting, this and another, but for consulting, it had almost every major listed. So with consulting in general, you can major in English, you can major in environmental studies, you can major in whatever it is that you feel like what your heart desires. And you should be confident in getting employment, you know, if you really put yourself out there. But something else I want to say, kind of applauding Richmond's liberal arts core, is that you can major in something that you really enjoy, so like environmental studies, and minor in business that kind of like help you in finding a job, and get a job relying on business, but you also indulged in environmental studies. I have a friend who managed to get a financial analyst job at JP Morgan, and that was her case. She was environmental studies major and a business minor. So I think she took she concentrated in finance or something. But at Richmond, you can kind of combine majors and then end up getting a really good job at the end, or going to graduate school, or just making yourself a desirable candidate for whatever postgraduate plans you want to pursue.
Reed, I feel like your question speaks to a lot of bigger questions about, like what does it mean to major in something? Like there are just like so many things we could talk about. And if you want to reach out to me later, I'm totally happy to like have a one-on-one conversation with you. I think what I'll say now is one thing that I don't think I realized until very late in my college career is that there are just so many different kinds of jobs out there at all different salary points with all different sorts of work-life balances in all different kinds of fields. And so I think it's easy to, think of the very well-known professions and try to like locate yourself there and then try to backtrack from there and see, okay, what's the exact path that I need to take to get to that point? But I think what I found is that sometimes it can be just as interesting and fulfilling and meaningful to start from, okay, where am I at right now? What am I interested in? What would I like to study more? And then from that point, explore and really communicate with career services to ask, what can I do with that? And I think that, even if you do end up choosing something more, even if you choose a more established, career, something that's very, an established professional career, that kind of an exploration is something very valuable to do during your 4 years here.
I think you all can see why I asked John and Anna to present with me to give you the student perspective. They're both just such excellent examples of the Richmond student experience, and very thoughtful in their approach. It looks like the next question that came in was about graduate school, and there are a couple of others that are also about health or professional school. So the next question that came in was from Ashley, and it's, if you want to attend graduate school, when do you start planning with your career counselor? Which is an excellent question. Thank you so much for asking that one. Students can start meeting with career counselors to talk about graduate school as early as their second or third year, especially depending on when some of the exams, the admittance exams that you might need to take would occur. One of the things that I really want to stress and echo about the Richmond experience is that faculty play an invaluable role also in the planning for graduate education. Your faculty advisors, professors you've had in classes, many of them, if you're going to pursue a course of study that is similar to the course of study you pursued as an undergraduate, really do some great advising in terms of which programs are reasonable, where you can research what your interests are. And there's just, I think part of it is the small faculty to student ratio. There's such great mentorship by faculty. And so we really see this as collaborative. Career services can and does help students who are pursuing graduate school, but also many students experience working with their faculty members as well. I don't know if Anna and John have anything to add to this one, or anything you'd like to add?
Yeah, is Ashley, right? I think it's great that you're thinking that far ahead. That's awesome. I definitely think talking to your professors will be really helpful. Depending on what kind of graduate program you're interested in, getting research experience and like figuring out whether you really want to do that grad school is also going to be important. And again, I think just being open to all of the different things that you learn about what you can do after college, I think is just something to keep in mind too, because grad school isn't for everyone, and it's okay if you don't go to grad school. Yeah.
That's a great.
Have something.
Oh, please, John.
Actually, I have something to add. So if you are really like a far ahead thinker, and you kind of have an idea that you do want to go grad school, and you have an idea of what type of grad school you want to go to, I would recommend, I think recommendations are really important. I haven't applied to grad school, but I'm assuming like applying to college is like a similar frame structure. So I would definitely recommend, doing your research, saying if you want to do chemistry, find like a chemistry department head and take a class with them your freshman year if you get into their class. And then start building that relationship. By senior year comes, they'll have 4 years of knowledge of you and they can write a really good recommendation letter. So if you want to think that far ahead, little tip of mine.
Great points. And the other thing that I'll mention is that there are many students, about 20 to 25% of each graduating class immediately goes to graduate school. But after the first year, that number increases exponentially. And our pre-health and our pre-law advisors work with as many alumni as they do with current students. So some of you will know while you're enrolled as an undergraduate that graduate school is the next step for you. Some of you might work for a few years and then decide graduate school is right for you. And so there's still resources at the University of Richmond to help support you with that. I definitely would recommend staying in contact with your faculty so that you can keep them abreast of your plans. I think I'll try to combine the next couple of questions because they are about support for pre-health students. One question is, can you speak a bit about support available to pre-health students? And the other is, when do we talk to career services versus our pre-professional pre-health advisors? Great questions. And I will share the pre-health website. We have an excellent pre-health advisor, Dr. John Vaughn. And I've shared that website so that you all can see the rich resources on that site. And there are a lot of resources, everything from support to finding clinical experiences, to advisement about what programs. There is a health professions advisory committee who will help students structure their application materials. The Career Center offers, there's a new trend for some medical schools to change their interview format. Rather than a one-on-one interview, there's a new customized group interview process. And so we simulate that for students. So I want to underscore that there's a lot of support, and what we recommend is that students meet with both the pre-health advisor and career services. Career services can help you develop your CV, can help you find the clinical experiences, and then the pre-health advisor is the university's primary liaison with the pre-health admission programs and can help you understand that you're on track with the prerequisites and what programs might be in reach. Some students start as early as possible, as soon as their first year, so they can work with all of the course sequencing, particularly if they want to study a discipline that does not encompass a lot of the prerequisite courses for medical school or any of the other pre-health programs. So I think it's always helpful to see the pre-health advisor. He has group meetings each semester for each class year, as well as you can schedule one-on-one meetings. And then there's a designated career advisor in our office who's the liaison for pre-health students. There is a big program that our office sponsors each year, another one in this deconstructing series called Deconstructing Health. And we'll have usually a keynote speaker as well as 6 panels that talk about, where we bring alumni back to campus to talk about their careers in healthcare. So everything from clinical careers to administration to mental health, so that you can hear from people who sat in the same seats that you did, what was their path into the healthcare field. So to sum it up, work with both interchangeably. If you know that you're definitely pre-health, it's not too soon to meet with Professor Vaughn in your first year. Anything that you all would like to add to that?
Yeah. So I used to be pre-health. I was pre-health going into UR, and I have kept in touch with Dr. Vaughn throughout my whole 4 years here, even though I abandoned that track in sophomore year. He's just a great resource to talk to. So nice, very, very supportive of students, and I think that what I would say is, if you're interested in pre-health, if you're really seriously interested in anything, just go and talk to people as much as possible, because the more you talk to people, the more you'll understand kind of what the path is that people have walked to get to where they are, or the more resources that you talk to, the more you'll know about all of the other resources even beyond Dr. Vaughn or even career services that exist. So for example, I know that there are some awesome student groups that'll help you with your pre-health aspirations. There's the UREMS student group on campus. They are a student-run, all student volunteer EMS team on campus. That's great direct healthcare experience. I know that there is STEM, which is a student organization for people interested in pre-health. And there's also, I think, the Bandits, who advocate for like student public health. So all of those groups and more beyond them are all available to students who are interested. And I'll finally just add that if you would like to be connected with other students who have been on that pre-health track or are currently on that pre-health track, you can, again, contact me and I'll try to put you in touch with them.
Thank you for that. The next question that I see is career services just for postgraduate plans, or will it also be available for entry-level jobs while on campus? So yes, definitely we work with students while they're enrolled in school. So lots of students in terms of getting internships while they're on school. There is a separate office that helps with campus employment, and that's through a financial aid office, manages the student employment program. And John shared with you that he and I worked together in the career services while he was a student. And so that came through the student employment office. But career services, we definitely advocate that you work with career services before you're planning your postgraduate steps. And so I'm not sure if that answered the question. Andy put the student employment link, and I'm not sure if that completely answered your question, but if not, you can add that in here. The next question is about starting salaries.
Leslie, can I add some?
Oh, please, Anna.
Sorry. I will add, pretty much if there's anything you're interested in on campus, there's probably a role for you that is adjacent to your interest. So my good friend in freshman year actually ended up working as a stagehand in Maudlin. So she got to like interact with all of the different shows that came into Maudlin, and like got to interact, kind of have conversations with cool people who would perform at Maudlin. And I really enjoyed my time working as a writing consultant. I really loved writing, and I got a job where like all I did was help students with their writing. So look, there are great student jobs on campus. You just got to look for them.
That's a great point. And the other thing that related to that is that even if there's not a job, what I found is that most people on campus are eager to help students, not just your faculty and people in support offices like career services, but if there's an interest and you reach out to the person who's doing that job, they're happy to do informational interviews, happy to talk about their experience. I was working with a first-year student 2 years ago who was interested in technology. And so I connected her to the two people who run our information services department. They did an informational interview, which was really just a casual conversation about their career field, how they got to where they were, what classes they'd recommend for her. And then they shared with me, the student and my colleague shared with me that she was interning with them for that summer. So the next summer, and it all started from a casual conversation. So what I find is that people whose roles who support the university, but aren't in roles that intersect with students every day, are very eager to talk to students and share advice. They are all choosing to work at a college because they're passionate about students. So what Anna said is exactly right. I don't know if you want to share what you're doing this summer, Anna.
Oh, yes. So, that's great, because I was just going to make a point that, everybody who's working here on campus has a pretty awesome job. So if you're curious about, the kinds of jobs that are available, even with the people that you're interacting with every day on campus, I've just found that faculty, staff, administration are so eager to talk to students and so generous with their advice. And so that's actually how I ended up in my summer internship. I became interested in fundraising actually the winter before my very last semester on campus. And so, I sought out all of the people who work in fundraising at the University of Richmond. And just by talking with them, I learned of this internship opportunity that they were just starting this summer. And I applied and I got it. So you never know what can happen. Just really embrace the place that you're at, the people that you're with, and follow your curiosity.
That's great. Thank you. And so I put some links in before we finish that response. There was a salary. What's your salary after graduating college as a technology assistant consultant? We won't put John on the spot to tell his actual salary.
Yeah, but I can recommend that if you go to Glassdoor.com, it's like a database of all these companies, and you can read about how their interviews are, so how difficult they are, what kind of questions they are, interviewees' experiences with that company, a variety of positions that they offer, locations, reviews of the company, of the CEO, and salary. So if you're curious about any company and any position and how much they pay or benefits and whatnot, Glassdoor.com is a really good resource that I utilized quite often all last year.
And the median salary 1 year after graduation, the range on the first link that I shared about outcomes is $50,000 to $54,999 is the median salary for first year students. And thanks, John, for sharing that salary resource. But we have some other resources that are linked into resources for UR students. One of them is Vault.com, which also has a lot of good company information. I would say Glassdoor is where we go most frequently for salary information. Our next question is, what year do students typically begin doing summer internships? I don't know if John and Anna, you want to share from your observations for you and your classmates?
I can share a little bit of what I've seen. So in the business school, depending on your major, it is after your sophomore year. So no, after your freshman year. So freshman year going into your sophomore year, you can get like an externship or a weekend long type of, introduction to a company. And then from there, you're usually invited for your sophomore year or after your sophomore year internship. And those are just kind of, cherries on top of the cake, or cherries on top of the sundae. You don't need those internships, but they essentially guarantee a job or an internship after your junior year or a job after your senior year. So your junior year, going into your senior year, is the most important summer that you need to focus on, and usually very competitive. And it, from what I've heard from friends in the business school, that is the company that they end up going to work at after their senior year because of, you've had a summer there, you've shown your work ethic, you've made connections. So it's just kind of really easy to just stay with that company. But to kind of guarantee that junior year internship, looking for something as soon as after your freshman year is beneficial. Not to freak you out.
Yeah, you can definitely get an internship after your freshman year. It might seem too early to some of y'all, but career services, again, is going to help you so much. Your professors at UR are going to be your cheerleaders. And yeah, I really encourage you, don't be intimidated by this idea of finding an internship. It's really just a chance for you to see what work might be like, but generally, what professional life is like, and what things are kind of like in your desired field of interest. So, don't pressure yourself. Look for it because it's interesting and because it'll help you. Don't think of it as you need to prove to yourself that you can jump through this hoop or whatever. I think something else I want to mention is an internship can look like anything. So it can be something highly professional, very business oriented, something like that. But it can also be something where, I think it can also be something that doesn't necessarily mean that you go sit in an office, you're a part of this big company. It can be, beekeeping for a summer, learning about environmental health and environmental justice and that sort of thing. It can really be whatever you make of it, and you'll be surprised at how many kinds of things you can fold into what a professional experience looks like and what will help you advance in your career.
you both made such excellent points, and I'll just reiterate, I'm sure you heard about it and know about the UR Summer Fellowship Program, but I really wish something like this had been available when I was a student. I call it the Dream Big Fund, because anything that is an interest, the university, if you talk about your experiential learning needs, your desire for an internship, the university will help fund that. So whether it's John talking about a student after their first year, they might not have had a lot of coursework in their major and they're trying to get an internship, or Anna talking about uncovering an internship that you might create in something that's not a defined program with a large organization. That's where I think Richmond is really smart in creating that funding opportunity, because I've had so many students tell me that it opened doors for them because they're able to say, I want to learn from you and you don't have to pay me. I can afford to do this. My university is going to provide the funding. And so I just think that is so beneficial. And I know we have 3 minutes left. I've been told by our host tonight that we need to end punctually at 6:45. So I think this last question is a great one. With a variety of counselors available with different specific fields and backgrounds within the Career Center, how can you find the perfect fit? And also, are we able to meet with a counselor before arriving to campus? And it sounds like Clara has already seen this, but I'll share for the rest of you the list of career advisors who are available. And it's a great question. And I would encourage everyone to meet with advisors until they find the right fit. We won't have any ego or hurt feelings if you meet with someone else. And there's some easy ways to do that. We offer daily drop-in advising, and there's a different career advisor available every day. It's on a first come, first served basis. You meet with an advisor for 15 minutes. So that's one good way you can meet a variety of career advisors. There also, sometimes we'll make referrals to other people. Each of us is tasked with being the liaison to a specific academic unit, as well as being the person who has the most expertise regarding certain industries. So sometimes your interests will naturally align. If you're interested in marketing, you might decide to meet with SK. If you're interested in consulting, you might meet with Beth. Or if you started out your first year and you met with me, even though I'm not the consulting or the marketing person, you might continue to meet with me. And so it's really flexible for students that way. If you call us, we could have a career advisor available to talk to you before you enroll. Usually we only provide advising for currently enrolled students and alumni. And one of those is a way to manage the demand. The other is just the practicality of our appointment reservation system. You have to be uploaded into the university's database with our office to schedule an appointment. We have an online career management tool for jobs and appointment scheduling and events. So in closing, we just want to say on behalf of all three of us, we are very glad to meet with you. I see that Anna and John are sharing their contact information, and this is a great offer. This is what I mean about the Spider Network. This is what alumni do for other spiders. So I hope you will take advantage of it and stay in contact with them. Thank you all so much. I look forward to meeting you when you're on campus. Best wishes with your transition. Feel free to reach out to any of us. Have a good evening.
Bye, everybody.